10 minutes ago, I was just in the process of having a bath. I'm absolutely roasting now. The washing machine is on, so I've got the laundry on the go. The weather is absolutely dire outside. And I've got a quick sort of 10 minutes to pick the guitar up, plug it in, and have a little bit of a jam with some backing tracks. And this is what it's all about today. To jam or not to jam. Good morning everybody and welcome to Gigs and Guitars. If you've been following the channel since I started it last February, thank you very much for your support. It really means a lot to me if you are subscribing, if you are liking the videos. And equally, if you do want to see some content in the channel, just send me a message, drop me a comment below and I'll see if I can fit it in. Well, moving on, today is all about what do you do when the weather is crap outside, you've got a day off, some areas of the country in localised lockdown to do with the coronavirus stuff that is still going on. There's still no gigs for us to play at. And it's a case of how do we keep motivated to actually play guitar or your instrument, whatever that may be, whether it's drums, keyboards, trumpets or whatever. Just make sure you keep playing. So today is all about a couple of ways to actually keep that motivation in tune, to keep you positive about your guitar. I'll be honest, I'll be open, I have left the house on 2 occasions in the last 2 weeks with a guitar, and that's since February last year, and I have to say the feeling was brilliant. It reminded me of how hard it can be in terms of I've got to lug all this equipment down from my home studio, down a wobbly staircase, out of the front door, lob it all in the back of the car, and then go to a rehearsal room, unload the same again, set it all up. This involved a fire escape onto a first floor at a local venue we were using to rehearse in. Of course, we're complying with the coronavirus regulations. And it reminded me of how we used to lump stuff around and how sort of used I've got to not lumping stuff around, you know. So it's a case of all my guitar gear is contained within this very room and I don't have to move it anywhere until a few days ago. And it really brought it back to me how awkward it is, particularly if it's raining, which it was. And yeah, it brought it all back of shifting gear around, building your rig at a venue, pulling it all to bits, pouring it back in the car or the van, bringing it home, bringing it back up into the studio, and it's like, geez, it's really hard work, which you sort of forget about. But anyway, moving on. So that brings me on to a topic of jamming, and I was fortunate enough in the last week or so to go to the unit in Bispham in Blackpool, which is a rehearsal room which is used by bands on the Fylde coast of the UK, England, which I've been to on many occasions. He basically arranged a bit of a jam session, really just to get our amps out, below the cobwebs off the same. And that's exactly what we did. So we got a drummer involved, which was Kev Banham. Kev plays in some really good bands in Blackpool. Norman, he came along and played the bass notes for us, as he always does on his Fender Precision bass. Norman plays in the Blackpool band called Boom Shank, and also the band that I play in called the Cooper Collective. Rob, guitarist, is in the band the Boom Shanker, as is Kev Banham on drums. So it's going to be an interesting night of jamming really, so nobody really knew what we're going to be doing. And it's really just to blow the cobwebs off the amps, get out and have a good time. And I filmed a few bits so you can have a bit of a quick look. Oh, look at that. Right, any more nominations? Any from the rhythm section? So when I was deciding about the jam session in Blackpool, one or two sort of things came to my mind. Was we've got bass, we've got drums, we've got Rob on his guitar. Rob is just a brilliant guitarist, and it was a case of, well, I'm going to take my valve amp down, my 2x12 cab, my pedal board, but I didn't want to take too much in the way of gear. So it's just a case of, well, I'm going to take one single guitar. And if I was going to take one single guitar, what would that guitar be? I know that Rob has 2 guitars that he takes out on the road with him. One is a Schecter Strat style guitar, which is a custom shop job, which he's had for many years, since the 80s. And it's a really nice tool, but it's got 2 single coils and a humbucker on it and a Floyd Rose or something like that. and his main guitar at the minute is a Fender Stratocaster, and I think it might be something a bit like Fender Stratocaster Elite spec, or the model before it might be the Deluxe or something like that, I'm not quite sure. But I do know that it's got it's HSS, which is humbucker single coil, and the humbucker in the bridge, I think it might be Tim Shaw wound pickup. So it's a case of, right, well, I've only got three electric guitars at the minute. I'm going to be building my collection and allowing you guys to follow me on that journey in the future. But right this minute, I've got 3 guitars to choose from. And if I was going to take out one guitar, I would want that one guitar to work well with Rob's rig, so it doesn't compete against it, but it would supplement what Rob is doing anyway. So naturally, I've got my Strat, and it looks like it's got 3 single coil pickups on it, but it hasn't. And just in the bridge here, I don't know whether you can see it, that is a stacked humbucker. Can you see that there? It's a DiMarzio Tone Zone. And so for me personally, this guitar is almost identical as what Rob will be taking down. The only difference is Rob's got a rosewood fretboard, this one's obviously a maple board. Great guitar, does everything I want it to do, but I wanted a guitar that would complement what Rob's doing rather than being identically the same, really. So that brought me on to my 2 remaining guitars, and so naturally thought about, right, the JS1000, featured this one before. Again, it's like, I've mentioned it in videos before, it's a modern interpretation of what a Stratocaster was, or is, should I say. It's got the rosewood board, it's got 2 humbucking pickups on it, and basically, was it different enough to complement Rob's Strat and his Marshall rig? And I thought, do you know what? Great guitar, does everything really, really well. Nah, we'll forget that one for the thing. Which left me with my gold top. So this is what I thought I would take down as my gold top, which is, it's a 2012 standard. It's had all the volume pots changed here and the volume controls to vintage 50s wiring with a huge bare knuckles capacitor in the back. So there's no printed circuit board in this, there's no push-pull tone pots or anything. It's pure 50s vibe is this, and it is a really, really good guitar. And I thought, do you know what, this would fit in with the mix really well with Rob's guitar. So I decided to take this little baby along with me to the unit in Blackpool, where I had a really good night with Rob, Kev and Norman. This is the first time, I might add, is that I'm using my full gig rig, which is my Laney IRT60 head with a 2x12 cam. I've got an effects loop running to my pedal board and back to the amp again, so I've got my effects pedal board on the floor in front of me, which is down here. And it's just a case of, if you've got 10 minutes in the day, why not pick up your guitar, have a good thrash, and then carry on with your day. And it's all about picking up that guitar and playing it rather than just being sat there in the case and absolutely doing nothing. So here we go, I'm going to fire it up now. What you will hear is the room noise. This is it in the middle. So you can hear it's quite loud in the room, but it's not overly loud. I'm well away from the neighbours, which is good. But as soon as the track starts, I will then sort of drop you into the audio recording so you can hear what it sounds like through Ableton 10. But here we go, let's have a go. just watched myself at home in my home studio, blowing the cobwebs out of my valve amp, my pedal board, my Ibanez JS1000, and you'll have heard the backing track in the background, which was just a random one from a collection I bought from Elevated Jam Tracks some time ago. And that's just one way for me in terms of picking up the guitar and having 10 minutes to spare and actually blowing the cobwebs out of my system. It's a stress relief as well. And it's a really good way to blow the cobwebs off if you've got literally 10 minutes to spare, or 20 minutes, half an hour. I've got, like I said, the washing machine's on downstairs, so I'm doing the laundry today. I've got to make dinner short, I've got a bit of housework to do, I've got to walk the dog, and everything else that we do in our day, which are all competing demands in our chaotic lifestyles that we have. But anyway, moving on. Elevated Jam Tracks, I stumbled across these about sort of 8 months ago while flicking through YouTube, which came up as a suggestion. I thought, well, that sounds really good, really professional, and I really needed some really good jam tracks rather than just like 2 or 3, just to basically throw me a bit of a curveball, if you will. So I went onto the Elevated Jam Tracks website and I downloaded one of their complete sort of bluesy rock, classic rock collections, which you've just heard. They're not titled in any way with any names. They're just titled something like Fiery Rock Blues in whatever key it's going to be in. And I bought, I think it was, around about 250 of these in one go. And I think it cost me, don't quote me on this, but I think it's no more than about £30 for the whole lot. And to be honest, it's really, really good because I just plug in my guitar, fire up the backing tracks, and just something completely random, and boom, let's go, let's have a bit of a jam. And each track lasts around about, say, it's above 10 minutes, probably about 12 to 14 minutes of just uninterrupted jamming time with me and the guitar. And once I've done it, the guitar goes back on the stand, crack on with what I need to do during the day, and I've had me a bit of a blowout and a little bit of a fix, and guess what? It keeps your fingers moving, it makes you think about what you're going to be playing, it allows you to experiment with techniques. Sometimes you end up throwing a complete mistake in there, which I've just done in that recording, but it's all good fun. I threw in some effects like wah wah, I've got digital delay on my board. Sorry, it's not digital delay, I'm completely analog. What am I talking about? Going back to my old days of guitar playing. But my analog delay was on there, had a little bit of chorus now and then. But what you heard today was valve amp, pedal board, guitar. And that's basically what it was with the Elevated Jam Tracks backing track. Now what I have done is I've recorded that into Ableton 10, and I'm just going to tweak the levels, and you'll be able to see that with the video as we progress through this episode today. So today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is all about what can you do with your guitar to keep you motivated, and hopefully those two things, if you can set up a proper jam with your mates, do it, but do it safely if you can do. But if you can't, get yourself some backing tracks as I have done. Get them switched on, pick up any old guitar, get your amp set up if you can, and just blow those cobwebs away and enjoy. And I almost forgot, there's always time of the day for a brew. Cracking.